Welcome to Timelines, episode 148. And remember, you can find us at timelinesofsuccess.com. Today, on episode 148, we have Mike Sheehan back on for a special. We're going to follow up because Mike is doing all the right things I think he should do in sales for insurance and online. He's playing with all the different tools, going the right direction. I see him as a front runner in this business of online. And Mike, we're going to talk today a little about you and some of the things you've done and all the different elements you've done in playing around and learning the online sales and marketing systems. We're going to go into the second part. We're going to look at some specifics, things you're working at. And finally, we're going to look at real estate and how we may be able to apply some of those things from insurance into real estate and get your opinions. How's that sound?
Sounds like a great topic. Some pretty cool things to talk about today.
Hey, also just a reminder for everyone out there, if you go on to your app, your new iTunes app, which is still difficult to use, it looks like this. If you're looking online, you can listen to Mike 147 and find out all about Mike.
Do a bunch of push-ups if I wanted to and jump back in my chair.
So that's it. That's the podcast from 147. So I encourage everyone to go there. And also we're on Blab, of course, and YouTube at Timelines. And you can put those links anywhere else you want to put them. Send them. Oh, anyway, Mike, let's talk about your background. So you've done a little everything online. So how did you make that decision to go from traditional insurance to online sales with insurance?
Well, selfishly, it was just time. The insurance business, and especially the life insurance business, is I was brought into it where it's a elbow to elbow, knee to knee type of appointment. You're selling a lot on emotion. You're selling a product that a person doesn't really get to touch, feel, taste, and at the end of the day, only one person is going to benefit, and that's your surviving spouse. So, but with that, a lot of people are not willing to embrace or confront the fact that, they're not going to live forever. So it was a process to sell, and people, for whatever reason, would tend to forget that they had an appointment. So as I might drive 15, 20 minutes, a half an hour, and they would not be home. Now, this was back in the day where you didn't have the convenience of the cell phone. And so I'd be stuck somewhere 2 hours before my next appointment, really not worth it to drive back to the office, sitting in a parking lot or sitting in a McDonald's waiting for that next appointment. So I just started to think there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a much more time efficient way to do this. And I thought of the internet. And I saw that there were companies, the big companies that were marketing life insurance there. And I said, I need to figure this out. So that's really where it all started. It was selfishly, I don't want to be running around on appointments and wasting a lot of time when I think I could be much more efficient if I were to do this online.
So what were the first things you did to start transitioning to online? I know were you on eBay first and some of these other platforms?
I went to Google. I said, okay, how can I get a presence on Google? And it was a lot of trial and error. I trying to read about it, trying to understand, pay-per-click and all this stuff. And I spent a lot of money with very, very little success.
That's common.
Yeah. And then what I started to do here is, let me start to meet the people that are doing it. And talk with them directly. And this was probably post or pre what we see today, where you could pretty much go online and find a program for anything, or a class or an online course for really anything you want to do, or something as simple as just going and typing in the topic into YouTube and get something that you could get for free. But that's what I started to do. And I'd met somebody through Google that said, hey, are you familiar with social media? And I said, no. And this was back in 2008. He said, have you heard of LinkedIn? And I said, no. I said, okay, that's where we're going to start, because that's where the professionals are. That's where the money is. So we started building local groups, generic local groups on LinkedIn. And this was a way to provide some value and not just kind of hitting them across the face with, hey, buy my insurance. And we built one here in the Cleveland, Akron area and started doing face-to-face networking events that we were strictly promoting on our LinkedIn group. And we were getting 100 to 200 people showing up for these groups. And I would walk in the room and people would know who I was because I was the face of that LinkedIn group. So that was, really the first, kind of how I started doing it. I gave up on trying to get that #1 ranking on Google and did it more through social media.
Wow. And you use LinkedIn.
LinkedIn was the first one.
Mm-hmm. You think about the avatar at LinkedIn, there are people who are usually professionals or trying to get a job. And LinkedIn used to have very little graphics or pictures. It was just real basic. This is what I do. This is my background. This is what I want to do. I guess you do a few posts. How long ago was that?
It was 2008. It was June of 2008. That's when I started my LinkedIn group, my first LinkedIn group.
June 2008. Wow. I started LinkedIn before that. It was the only thing we could use in the military. We're on social media initially. There's some limitations. And we're allowed to use LinkedIn. Later on, we could actually have Facebook sites. There was physical security clearances and some other issues.
Well, Bill, I'll tell you, it's interesting. Let's go to today. Let's go to December of 2015. My nephew is in the Navy, and he's in Special Forces. And they said my sister, they had to take all that stuff down because they said they will use that against him if he's ever captured. So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're going to use it against you to find your family. There's a lot of things they can do. It's a mixed bag, but it's funny. I worked under 2 administrations in Afghanistan, and the Obama administration actually encouraged Facebook. Interesting.
Wow. Like I said, I don't know if it's because of what he does, but yeah. So she's not on it. She doesn't mention him. She doesn't talk to him. I don't know if that stuff disappeared, and he obviously does not communicate on it either. So.
Yeah. So, folks, my background is 30 years active in reserve. I was a special forces officer when I was young, Green Beret. Did some other things in between. And my last duty was civil military operations in Afghanistan in uniform. That's working between the State Department and the Army and coordinating local government and the military, a lot of different things. So I had a lot of interface. I saw things change, but LinkedIn was our first platform we were allowed to use. So that's good. So you did that. And we talked a little bit offline about some of the other ways you've experimented making money online.
Right. And what happened is as I saw value in reaching out to people that were doing it, I started to get engrossed and excited about the non-insurance type of things, which was the affiliate marketing world. And again, let me go back. My first introduction to network marketing, and I remember it like it was yesterday, was I was my first year out of college, and I was a football coach, and I got invited over to one, and I coached at a school that was in the community where I grew up. So I knew a lot of the people, I knew a lot of the kids that I was coaching, and I was invited to a home meeting at one of the mom's house of the kids I was coaching, and that's when I saw the circles, and I just got excited about the circles. So that was back in when was that? Be 19? I don't know. Let's say 1990, something like that, 1990 or whatever. So that's where my first introduction to that. And what caught my eye was, hey, I can provide something of value to people that I saw value with. So now to fast forward, I did not have success with that. I mean, most of those companies that I always infatuated with the brass ring, I can say early on, at least I was breaking even because I was selling enough to kind of pay for my own stuff, but never really made it into any kind of substantial income. But then fast forward, when I saw affiliate marketing, again, the light bulb went off because I said, here's something I can build online and I don't have to own the company. And all I need to do is represent the product, and whether it be a product or a service. So with that, I started to look at companies for me personally where I saw value. If I was not an affiliate or I was not in the business, would I still benefit? So that was always kind of my gauge as far as the company, because there's a lot of good companies out there. I mean, tremendous products, a lot of good companies. So
with that, we're going to go to a break. Well, that means it's time for a commercial. And our commercial is from our sponsor, Share the Oils, Share the Oils, Northern Nevada. We thank you, Share the Oils. And it's funny, that's a perfect lead in to this next segue with Mike. He was just talking about direct sales, marketing, and he's really looked at everything. And I think that's a characteristic inside of an entrepreneur. I've been involved, I was an Army officer, 30 years, family business. But as an entrepreneur, I always looked at these multi-level direct marketing and explored them and looked at them. And to tell the truth, when I was a councilman, I was approached by the lead attorney from a very large federation of farmers in Central Valley. And it was all about Amway. So I got into that. I actually built a pretty large organization, but I was deployed on active duty and no one watched it. No one paid the fees. So I lost big lines behind me. No one was watching it. So it's kind of funny. But I always looked at them as a way for people to learn about business. I think it generally is difficult to make money in direct sales or multi-level unless you really put all your efforts into it. What do you think, Mike?
I absolutely agree with that. I've talked to a lot of people that said I'm an overnight success, but it took me 10 years. A lot of the people that have had success, and sometimes they forget to share that part of it. But yeah, absolutely. There's no free ride, and it does take effort. At least I can only speak for me. I can only speak from my own experience. But absolutely, it does take work.
And we're talking about the work it takes. I have known people who have done well. We talked about a Navy officer who got lucky and was in the right place at the right time in the Pacific, worked for a few years, got out of the Navy after 5 years, worked for a couple of years in the business, and basically retired. And now is looking at other ways. I mean, he's been retired for 14, 15 years and still gets a check. I think the highest he ever got was 8,000, but he gets consistently over 5. So, Mike, what type of MLMs have you looked at?
Well, the ones initially were all kind of the nutritional based ones because that's where, I had interest in it. I was a coach, I was a biology teacher. So, those things always infatuated me. I'd always taken supplements, my mom had, always had us taking the multivitamin and stuff. But so those always infatuated me because, again, when I saw the circles, when I saw the opportunity,
I heard that the circles,
2 to get 4 to get 6 to get 8, and pretty soon, we're going to have the whole world there. And, you believe very strongly in your product. You saw the opportunity there. But I can say I'm not ashamed to say it is, prospecting, recruiting was not a strong suit for me. So I was not able to build, those organizations. I was not able.
But you're in the insurance business, and that's all about, and like real estate, it's about prospecting every day.
Right. But, and it was interesting. The first MLM company I was involved in, when we were going to these weekend training marketing seminars, guess who the guys were up there teaching? It was insurance guys. So they were teaching that strategy that they did. They just changed it to a nutritional supplement. So it was really fascinating because they were taking that same strategy. Now, the difference being I wasn't looking in insurance. The strategy is how do I get in front of a prospect? I wasn't looking to build a downline with that. Right. So that was the difference there. I was not in the insurance business to build an agency. I was not in the insurance business to recruit other agents. So, what they were teaching on the front end was just how to sit down and talk to somebody about your product and get them excited about it so that they would purchase it and maybe get excited enough that they were going to want to start to tell their friends how to do it and build that business.
Hey, I want to segue into what we do over the last 25 years in between deployments. I'm a civil engineer, design build. We have a real estate company. So when there's ebbs and sways with the design build or my coming back from a reserve deployment, I always worked in the marketing side and developing the real estate company. And that turned out to be our most profitable company, believe it or not, even though I love to build and design stuff. It's just that so many dollars go through a construction company, you can't believe it. Little comes out, and there's so much potential for a failure. But in real estate, we trained up over 100 agents in California in our office at different times. And one of the things, we didn't want them doing multi-level at all in the office, and definitely not approach anybody in the office because we want them to focus on real estate.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, I learned a lot from training up these people. And one thing, we had the principals course in California, and I had tied in with another training organization from Orange County. I was in Northern California, and really got the cost down to a nominal cost, like $70 or $80 to get your principal certificates, where most brokerages charge $300. And that's another story we'll talk about another day. But I learned a lot from doing that among people. That said, I still have that interest with the multi-level. So what I'm doing now, I've joined 5, like I said. I got this product right here, which I actually like because I use. But there's pros and cons in it, and I'm experimenting and I'm testing it. But you have do you have a multi-level or direct marketing today that I'll probably buy into under you?
Right. The two that I like, and again, as I've grown in this, I was able to step back and not make my decision based on how much money or on the timing. That was a big thing. The timing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know of one company that I was involved in for a very long time. If you went to their convention today, that company's probably 25 years old. I bet they would still say on their convention, timing couldn't be better for you to get in right now. So,
timing is important.
Yeah. So, and now, in fairness to that, I've been on the front end of that timing. And again, for me, it still came down to being able to build an organization, because you could be in at the best time, but if you're not able to build an organization of people who are buying that product, you're not going to make any money. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say in Netcasting 101, what we're finding, what we're looking at is the ways to make money online around, creating a blab podcast or YouTube. And the affiliate accounts is number one. And that's sort of a little bit like network marketing in a weird way. Affiliate.
Yeah, no, I like that. I have really everything that I do, from my, get response that I use for my customer retention, CRM system, where I'll capture leads, to any of the tools that I might use. I always look to see if there's an affiliate program, because if there is, I might make a few bucks if I share that with somebody, and you're good for me. And if it were, and it might offset my cost if it's something that had a monthly cost to it. Let's say it's a software package and there's a monthly cost, and I might, get 4 or 5 people that maybe buy into it, and that maybe offsets my cost for using that software. And
there's some great deals too. On one of my good friends, Ron Wilder, made $1,200 just calling people with the good deals that were out in Black Friday in one day. Mm-hmm. And one of those good deals, which is coming back, which I have on my site. If you go to Netcasting 101 resources, you'll find underneath I put a site for a website, which I have several. I actually host on 3 different places, and it's just really, I put those up there, and sometimes they have really good deals, and there's a really good deal out on the resources right now. I just hit my own resource, and it is it's the SiteGround for the daily one, just to start in podcasting. And I'll probably tie something in with that, where for $50 I'll load up, all of my premium developer plugin licenses, which last forever and stay updated, so you don't have to buy them for somebody. So I'm thinking about stuff like that as the first level to monetize. Hey, with that, let's go to another break, and we'll come back and look at mistakes you made and things you could have done to move even faster.
All right.
Well, that means it's commercial time, and our first commercial today is going to be for netcasting101.com. That is my pre-launch. It's up right now. It's about $40. I'm going to shoot it. I hope to get it to $200 as fast as I can after I launch. And considering a donation right now to keep content online, I put a lot of content up, folks. This is the 148th episode of Timelines. We've got a great show called WP Tonic, which is a tech show and website, which has ranked as high as 4 in the country. And it's just something I teach. And let me tell you a little bit about the course. First of all, the whole theory is you come up on Blab and the YouTube first before you come up onto iTunes. So you get to get a feel, get training before you get into iTunes. And iTunes, that jump from YouTube, Blab to iTunes is big. I was, before I discovered Blab, I was teaching recording through Skype and then putting it up on YouTube and looking at it before I go up on iTunes. There's some things you want to do before you go on iTunes to get a large traffic. And by the way, there's it used to be 3 or 4% made money on iTunes. Now the numbers are 8 or 9% make money. And some people make a lot of money. John Lee Dumas makes about $90,000 to $100,000 a month on just his 5 advertisements or on each show. That's just from advertising. And I've watched him evolve and grow. So, Mike, let's get back into where we were on direct sales. And first of all, just a couple of things. In my course, I start out with the platform. And the first place to start is in affiliate sales. And that was one of the mistakes I made by not doing affiliate sales earlier. I passed over a lot of dollars. So get your website and your affiliate sales link up and slowly build those. Every time you buy a product, see if there's an affiliate. And if you like it, put it on your website. Because I guarantee you, people and family will buy it. And your Amazon's a pain. It's so little money, but it's a good one to learn. Probably not the best first one to learn. But that said, you still need to spend some time every day in your affiliate sales. That's one of the mistakes that I found, not getting into affiliate sales earlier. What do you think? What are some of the mistakes you've made?
I don't know if we have enough time in the show here. I will tell you this. I will, if I were to redo it, it was looking for the shortcut. And I guess looking for the shortcut meaning is I was trying to sell too soon. And what I tell people today when they ask that is, if you can remember back to the kind of the old school Chamber of Commerce networking events, you would not go up to a person who you didn't know and immediately try to sell them on your product. And
right.
That's what we've tried to do, and we think works on the internet. And it doesn't. It doesn't work any better on the internet than it did when you were face to face with somebody in a networking event. So it was taking that time to build a relationships. The like, trust, and understanding still applies. Are there exceptions to the rule? Absolutely. And there's exceptions in anything that you're going to look at. But if you want sustainability and the opportunity to build a following, you can't always be selling. So that would be kind of a mistake I made, plus the advice to go along with it.
Well, it's a relationship. And we walked away from our home in California where we had huge relationships in real estate. And we've had to start all over again in Reno. And it is painful. It is painful. But that's interesting what you said. Some people put out a gazillion emails. It's funny. One of my friends I know who is a very successful oil executive engineer who's made $200,000 a year. He retired and tried the online business for about a year. Spent a lot of money, just $50,000 on coaching and going to classes. And his one link, I just did a search on my site because he was on the show earlier, Timelines, a year ago. And he has 2 links on my site. I was doing scans, and both those were, I got alerts to both those links for possible, not just bad links, but crawlers and things that can not good for your websites. Right. And it wasn't his fault. It's the list that he was using and the people he was around and the type of tactics. You saw that years ago, that poor sales type thing.
Right. And it is now becoming a little bit less. I mean, or at least I'm more aware of it, so I don't see it. But that whole, build your Facebook list overnight, buy 1,000 likes, any of those things. I'm sure you could probably find it on LinkedIn, all those things for that quick fix, and they don't work. I mean, they're against the terms of service of probably any of the social media sites. Mm-hmm. So you're violating that right there. Plus, it's people that aren't even real, And with technology on the back end getting so more sophisticated, those things can hurt you to where if you do legitimately build on that particular social media site, you are blackballed because of the way that you had built it on the front end. So there's that would be another, and I can say, I don't think I ever did that. I just never saw value in saying, okay, I'm going to go to Fiverr and buy 1,000 likes for this site so that I can do something. To me, it just didn't compute, and I didn't do it. But I know people have, and I don't know of anybody that had substantial financial benefit from trying to do a shortcut on building their list.
It's a relationship. You have personal farms, geographical farm. It's a personal relationship built up over a period of time. It takes work. Mm-hmm. Hey, talking about that local networking, you sort of got out of that. You still do it because you coach. You still have people locally, Mm-hmm. You don't go. It sounds like you don't go to the chamber.
You know what? No, I was a member. I was a member at a couple of them, and it wasn't. I enjoyed this better. So it was just a preference. I enjoy doing this better than going to that event. So, and then when I felt if it was a particular group where you were a member and you were kind of forced to go, I would kind of shy away. But when there were independent networking events, there's a car dealership here that does a big wine tasting event. I'll go to that because again, you just never know. Yeah, it's wine. So
wine, that's good. We're going right there. You might as well go to things you like to go to.
But yeah, I mean, I was in the Rotary for a long time, and I speak very highly of it. But you had to go to a meeting every Monday. And so I kind of pulled away from those. But they are good avenues for somebody who's looking to certainly start to embrace the local community. Is certainly the chambers and things like the Rotary and the Kiwanis and the Lions Club and those types of things. I mean, I would highly encourage a person to at least look into those and at least go as a guest. You can always go to any of those type of local community groups as a guest to kind of get a feel for it.
When I was vice mayor in Modesto, I would go out and speak in front of the Rotaries. We had 7 Rotaries. Some of them are very large downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And what a mix of folks. And what I noticed was the Rotaries are all so different personalities.
Sure. Yep.
It's fun to go, and go and speak. I think you're talking earlier about getting back out now, sort of a change in direction you see, and getting out in front of people and actually speaking.
Well, the change of more, if you are selling something online and maybe I don't know, maybe I've not researched it, but to me it appears that I'm seeing a lot more advertising for live events, and I'm talking in the social media space. I bet you could find an event that would have speakers on podcasting. I know there's already been events where it was on Periscope, and then I know there's a Periscope event coming up in I think January. I bet somebody's going to put a Blab event together. So you have and I know there's huge events that are multi speakers from all different platforms. Different summits. They call them summits now. And you if you have a product to sell, that's going to be the environment that you're going to want to get on the platform, because you're going to have that exposure. You're going to meet other people that have large lists. That I think is a key, that if you can engage and embrace people with large lists to help you with a shortcut on being able to get your message out there, where they're now promoting you to their list.
Right. Well, I get my message out through Blab, YouTube, and iTunes, but iTunes is really the target for me, at least. That's the biggest. It used to be for every one person that watched on YouTube, I had 8 to 10 on iTunes. That's dropped a little bit now, I think because of Blab. I'm using Blab more. Mm-hmm. And I'm experimenting on my website. If you notice on my website, I don't put my YouTube or Blab up on the first page. You got to go to read more. And that's really helped, I think, restore some of those numbers. But that's a whole nother story, which I'll explain in the course, where you make money with podcasts. Like we were talking earlier, I've got friends who are making $100,000 in revenues a month just off of advertising. And by the way, the way they started is they befriended me on LinkedIn when John Lee Dimmons. He's been in the Army. He did that a long time ago before he started his business. So he started getting set up ahead of time for success. Hey, we got a few minutes left, not many.
All right.
Real estate, unlike insurance, we really didn't talk about insurance. We'll have you back, in a few weeks for just a special more on insurance and real estate. But I see real estate, you being able to do what you can do in real estate a lot easier in insurance than we can do in real estate. Real estate's still not there on that online business platform. They're trying Zillow, Trulia. It's a referral. People are making money referring it to the agents because they still need agents. The commissions are about the same. It hasn't changed yet, but insurance has.
No, they have, because, again, just from a licensing standpoint, I can get a life insurance license very easily in any of the 50 states just by going online and paying a fee. Mm-hmm. So right there, it's made it simple. I don't know what a real estate agent needs to do to get licensed in another state. I'm not securities licensed, so again, makes it very easy. That's a whole other. If you're securities licensed, what that means is where somebody is selling mutual funds, bonds, retirement programs, anything like that. I could not do this. I could not do this at all because Big Brother would say, no, you can't do this. Now, sidebar, there is a way of being able to market yourself online if you are securities. But again, there's it would really be you talking about your fishing and maybe your other, maybe your kids' soccer game, but you could never talk about product. I could talk about life insurance products there. So that made it easier. Plus, insurance companies have made online apps available. So I can get all the information, and all that I have to do is click send, and then an email goes to the client, and they do an electronic signature, and that's what starts the process.
Hey, we got to finish up. One thing I will say, it's almost the holidays, Christmas, whatever, Hanukkah, your specialty. Here's a little something I'm trying different this year. Because of real estate, we send out a lot of real cards. We've always found, it's a great way to build relationships, sending out those Christmas cards. Well, a little something in between it like this, a little stuff for what the family's doing, personal, so they know, like, and trust you. Same thing. Well, I built a blog for my wife, it's KarenConrad.com this year. And it's a pretty neat little blog, but mostly it's just real estate houses. But I put our Christmas card on there, which I'm going to launch tonight, as well as printing it out. So I'll be able to send out the Christmas card off her blog to all my friends, which hopefully crosses over somewhere. But something new what we haven't done in the past. Send out a Christmas card on a blog as well as mail one. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
So you're busy. I know you said 5 blogs to write or posts.
Well, 5 articles I need to write for some marketing that we're doing. It is kind of double secret. I am under an NDA, but we're doing some testing on how to develop a lead source for how to develop leads on for local brick and mortar businesses.
This is live blabbing. It goes right into iTunes with very little editing, because that's the whole thing. Get it up fast. Hey, thanks, Mike. We're really running short on time. I'll put on some music here so we can say goodbye. And I'll be up on your show, which I'm looking forward to, on the 16th. So here we go. Let's see if this works. Hey, it works. Bye. Oh,
so long, everybody.
Don't forget to say how to get a hold of you.
Oh, yeah. You can reach me at yourlifeinsurance411.com.
And go over to timelinesofsuccess.com to see the website for the show. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Almost got the timing right. Hey, this is the end of the show. We're back. I just want to show you what it looks like after we do a blab. And you're hearing this on iTunes too. And this is what we're doing. We're doing all sorts of experimenting, learning, and some of the best minds out there who are looking every day at blab are on explaining how we can do things better.
Yeah, Zoom is awesome.
Okay. It's better on here. I'm on Zoom over here. See you, Rob. Rob, we'll talk later. You got to figure out when Rob is up. Oh, I'm still recording. Hey, anyway, so you got to get the blab at the end of the show. I may cut that out of the podcast, but maybe not.